Coming up now on Animal Outtakes, we meet the Highland cows of the Cow Creek family farm. Learn about agritourism and how the cows have gotten things moving along in Plant City. And efforts are underway to save a parcel of land for a gopher tortoise family, how an environmental conservancy is doing what they can to save this piece of property. Plus, we're up close with this pleasant porcupine while he enjoys some breakfast. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes.
A lot of people don't realize how reliant we are in agriculture. Now, we obviously do things very differently in comparison to a lot of other farms. Now, we think that's important because as time goes on and as generations proceed into the next, you've got to realize that some things do change. That's part of life. Now, getting to see some of these things up close really helps because it's not always going to stay the same. So here we have most of them are Scottish Highlands. We do have a couple crosses, such as Daisy down over there. So she's a White Park Highland cross. We also have a couple low-line Black Angus cross, but mainly we focus on the Highlands. So we have Bucky right here. He's our bull for this pasture. Now he's a big baby, so he's been handled since he was about 4 days old. He's very used to being around people. He's got about 800 more pounds to go to full size.
Now we have a baby over here.
Yes, we have the baby. That's a new little bull, so he's only 5 weeks old, and that's his mom behind. It's actually the black one's the mother over there. Now, Lilo is very unique because she's actually a White Park, so she's a British breed. She's not a Highland, but she was bred with our Highland bull, so we have Daisy there, who's half Highland, half White Park cross. So she got the fluffiness from the Highland. Now this is Bucky, this is my little bull. So I've handled him since he was about 4 days old. So he's a big baby. He's a sweetheart. Huh? Yeah. Naturally they blow their coats out every couple months. That's actually to help with germination as well. So their hair has this fineness to it that's meant to attract wildflower seeds and grass seeds. It'll cling to their coat and they will progressively move around and will graze through different areas, and they will drop those seeds that were clinging to their body and they'll plant them. You can interact with them so much easier than other breeds. They're naturally so much more docile because of their history. They've had a lot more human interaction. They've moved around much slower. They go from this grazing area to this grazing area very easily. Yeah, so they've had no fast-paced life, so they're a lot more docile.
Okay, just tell me which way.
Just tilt it right down.
Well, hi.
If you want an animal that you actually get to really be hands-on, take care of, Highlands are perfect for it. There's a lot more involved with these guys than your typical cows, and that's been a big draw for people lately. Their Duette, which is this wonderful hairdo right here on the front of the head. And one of my favorite parts is actually the hair floofs underneath her ears. So as she gets bigger, those will drape down from her ears and they help keep flies away. Yeah, she's got a she has a meticulous routine for those lashes. So she gets asked a lot by some of the ladies we have that come out to the farm. Now that's naturally to help prevent rain and snow getting into their eyes. So they actually have a reduced risk of eye infection. They're an extremely adaptable breed as well. Now, they do great in both hot and cooler climates. It's just given time to acclimate. So as she reaches adulthood, she will actually regulate her coat length and thickness to allow for cooler or warmer weather. So as she gets older, this will thin out a little bit, and that'll help just prevent sun from hitting her body directly, as well as getting horns as she gets older. So that actually acts like a natural radiator would. So it'll help her shed excess heat through her body because there's active blood vessels throughout her horns.
Nate, we want to thank you for inviting us to Cow Creek Farm.
Of course. Thanks for coming out.
It's so idyllic. just so idyllic here, and we've got some buddies back here.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. We got a few.
Who's the tall guy?
So big gal right there, that is Rosa. Now she's our most dominant girl. Now she's a big sweetie, believe it or not. Just don't let the haircut fool you. She's a sweetheart. And we have Rico right here, the littlest alpaca. And then we have Yzma as the white one back over there. And we got a couple of our miniature goats as well. Our main focus is agritourism. So we have people come out to learn about the animals. Obviously people are a lot more surprised by the variety of animals that we have. Because everyone's like, oh, the Scottish Highlands, that's the draw, but they also get the added bonus of learning about a couple other practical animals as far as farms go. So for the alpacas, their main use is clothing textiles. So in South America, they're used for colder weather climate clothing. So you can shear them down, you can spin that into yarn, and it'll be used for many different applications. So one thing that's interesting about it is it has many different natural colors and patterns, so you can use it without having to dye it. So you can use the natural coloration that occurs with it. Then we have the goats. Now these guys have a little bit less of a practical use. So these are Nigerian dwarf goats. They're cute. Now they've been selectively bred down to be that size. So they stopped getting used as meat animals and as a dairy animal because they have a very low yield. Now they've been continuously bred down to that smaller size for show. So people use them kind of like, think of like a dog show, similar to that. So they're very sweet, they love their treats, they come and they jump up on you, they climb on everything, and they're a lot of fun.
And
so,
they do yoga.
They do yoga, they're very good at it.
How do you get people to be responsible and enjoy these animals?
So first off, we like to start everybody with our more easygoing animals. So these guys are very interactive, but they get excited about their food. So we like to tell everybody, so we start this out with a little cup. Depending on the animal you're trying to feed, so whether it's the alpacas or the goats. Now the alpacas are picky. So if you've fed any other animal while you're wandering around the farm beforehand, before we start the tour, I tell everyone, just know they don't like the smell of the other animals sometimes. So if you have saliva or hand sanitizer on your hand, for instance, they won't eat out of your hand. But if you use the cup, you can hold up the cup, they'll eat out of it immediately. So they're a little bit pickier. So I tell everyone, just know they're being a little bit rude and they think you stink. So we're gonna have to use the cup. So we originally started in 2015, moving things around, started putting pens in for the first couple animals. So the first Highland, first couple Black Angus, and then some Herefords as well. So, and started from there and moved on since. I believe no matter the age, you still got to follow up. If it's your dream, come learn about animals. If that's what you want to do, we'd love to. But as far as our practicality with it, we do try to designate specific days because we have a lot of other things going on for it. So we also prefer doing our guided tours, which we try to do as much as we can because we fill almost every weekend throughout the month through our fall into springtime. We want a hands-on, intimate feeling with getting to be around the animals and learn about them. So we want everybody to be able to ask questions and get to interact with them in that close setting. So we do try to limit the numbers because of that. People have to realize animals are instinctual things. They've got animal instincts. So no matter how domestic you get them, how well trained they can be or interacted with and affectionate they are, they're still animals. So one of the important things is you get to learn how different animals react to people. Obviously ours are a little bit more used to being around them, and so they get well fed too, so that's a little bit of an easier process. But getting to see them up close and in person, you also create a bond with them, I like to think. If you're an animal person or if you've never really had the ability to be around animals, that's a big spread in between. I mean, if you've got no experience with, especially on an agricultural side, animals that are used for agriculture, you learn really quickly that these animals are very unique. And in a small setting like this, you get to kind of develop a relationship with them. I mean, we have quite a few people that come out on tours over and over again to come see one specific animal they loved. So I think that it's important because you get to see the humanity in it of getting to see our responsibility of taking care of these guys, because we've taken on that responsibility and we have one to every day take care of them make sure they're happy, their needs are met, make sure it's clean. And I think people really start to realize that there's a lot that goes into it. Nowadays, trying to maintain agricultural processes is a lot more difficult, just purely for one, due to cost increases. I mean, looking at feed prices and hay prices, it's a lot more difficult to manage nowadays. And so different farms and farmers are having to find different avenues to make money. So agritourism happens to be one of the best ways for farms to help make up some of that lack of income, because without agritourism we wouldn't be able to do this. So purely because people have a love for these animals and want to get to see them and come see what it's like on a farm and get to interact with them, that completely allows us to do that. And it's something that we love doing, and we get to share that with people. So it's something that we're very grateful for.
For more about this family farm and how you can visit, go to their website, cowcreekfarm.com. Coming up next on Animal Outtakes, how the Environmental Conservancy in Northport is working to protect this piece of property from being developed. That's next.
Every dolphin at Clearwater Marine Aquarium has an amazing tale. They're all rescues who have overcome challenges to survive and thrive. You'll be inspired by every animal story and unforgettable moments with them, including 2-year-old Apollo, our newest rescued dolphin. There's something inspirational for every kid, and kid at heart. Your visit directly supports the animal care and rescue efforts at Clearwater Marine Aquarium, celebrating 50 years of amazing tales.
Good morning, Mr. Benson. Your breakfast is served.
Time for another day in doggy paradise. I sure am one lucky pup.
Mr. Benson, would you like to go out for your morning stroll? The weather is quite lovely today.
That sounds wonderful. Don't mind if I do. After all that exercise, I think I'd like to lounge by the pool and maybe dip my paws in.
As you wish, sir. Right this way.
What a perfect day. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else but Dante's Den while Mom and Dad are away.
At Dante's Den, we pride ourselves in providing the best experience for your beloved pup. Whether it be a day, a month, or a year, Dante's Den should always be at the top of your list for boarding. With an expansive campus, your dog will enjoy daily walks, pool time, and an endless supply of love. Even better, it's all under 24/7 supervision from our wonderful staff. If you're anything like us, your dog's safety and happiness come first. To learn more about Dante's Den, visit dantesden.org.
Did you know Moat is helping restore depleted snook populations and has raised and released 30,000 of them into local waterways so far? The more you know about everything Moat's doing to help our oceans, the more you'll understand why Moat matters. Visit moat.org today.
The mission of the Environmental Conservancy of Northport and surrounding areas is to permanently conserve land in Sarasota and Charlotte counties for all living things. They're a nonprofit who wants green space for wildlife and native plants to continue to thrive. They're saving neighborhood land with the intention of finding a way for us all to coexist. So here's a look at one of the current pieces of property they are trying to acquire.
That's the Florida scrub jay that just called. That is a very threatened species in the state. They're in extreme decline because of development, first and foremost, mainly loss of habitat. They like a certain type of habitat, drier areas with certain types of oak trees that they can pick the acorns. They bury them. One bird can bury like 3,000 acorns a year. And then they know where they put them and they go back and get them, and that's what they eat all winter long when the bug population is low. So for that bird to be here, that makes this property even more valuable than just the tortoises being here alone. They share habitat normally, and there is no protection for this bird by any public entity in Deep Creek. Not Charlotte County, nothing in this area at all. For us to keep this as natural habitat for those birds is a major bonus on top of saving the tortoises' homes as well. We're in Deep Creek. This is the corner of Copiapo and Barcelos. And this is a 1/4 acre parcel, 2 lots owned by a couple who were planning to build on it until they found out that there's 17 gopher tortoise burrows, 12 are active. Right now, with the market the way it is and the building boom, it's about $7,200 per tortoise to remove them. And you have to remove them to build. Sometimes FWC will allow you to leave them here, but in most cases, no. There's a very strict program. Fish and Wildlife, Florida Fish and Wildlife orchestrates the entire thing, and you cannot build on top of their burrows. They have to be removed elsewhere. And so that would cost them about $72,000 to be able to build here. And they don't want to do that. So now we're trying to do this fundraiser to raise $40,000 to buy this double lot, and hopefully it's going to work out. So this is there are some in here, some burrows. The Environmental Conservancy of Northport and surrounding areas. It's really long. We started in Northport and then we added the surrounding areas because the goal was to always end up being in Sarasota and Charlotte counties both. So we formed in December 2019. We launched our first fundraiser in the spring of 2020 to try to acquire 2 lots in a neighborhood of Northport that has Florida scrub jays and gopher tortoises. And the reason that we've done this is because the woods are an illusion in all of our neighborhoods. Everything is being clear cut and all of the wildlife is being pushed out. Plants and trees are being bulldozed, and we just are trying to save a little something for nature in our neighborhoods while we continue to live here, move here, build here, etc. Coexistence is the main goal. We are all volunteers. There are no paid anything. Anyone on the board, anyone that does any work for us in the field, anything we do, it's strictly volunteer on everyone's personal time. Every lot on every block in this entire vicinity, Charlotte County, Sarasota County, Cape Coral, is owned by someone else from some different person from or entity all over the world, not even just Florida. All over the world, people own lots here, and every one of them is subject to complete clear cutting for development. There are no laws that tell you that you have to save a thing. Not even the largest oak tree you could possibly find, or the largest pine. You don't have to keep it. You can write a check and cut it down. At some point, we've got to be a little more environmentally responsible and conscious of what we're doing. Because do we really want everything wiped out? I don't think so. But how do we make that happen? We've had some Sarasota County land managers come down and do walks of some of our lots in Northport, and we're going to do it here too if we acquire this. Counting the plants, 50 different native plants on one lot. Everyone is different. So the orange flag indicates that the environmental agent, Jennifer from Suncoast Eco, came and walked it, and she found this area here where there were multiple burrows. So you can't see it necessarily right now, but if you start looking amongst all of this grapevine, you will see the sandy paths and you'll find the openings. So there's one right there, and you really can't hardly tell, but it comes in here and curves around and goes down into the hole. So it's underneath this grapevine here. So we have trail cameras on some of our other lots, and we have gotten going in and out of the burrow, rabbit, possum, raccoon, a coach whip snake, a black racer snake, a field mouse of some sort, I forget the name, but so we have confirmation that it's not just used by tortoises, which helps the whole argument that this is housing a community of wildlife, a habitat. And as you can see, they find a way. It doesn't have to be the perfect textbook habitat that you will see described by the Fish and Wildlife Commission. They work it out, they figure it out. They're gonna dig themselves a hole, because that's what they do. We all should coexist, and there's no reason why we can't save a little something while we continue to grow and build with concrete and brick and mortar and asphalt everywhere. Within this half an acre is an abundance of habitat. There could be 50 different native plants here. There could be several different kinds of birds living here. It's providing housing for nature, and this is not going to stay this way without our help. And we will record a conservation easement on the property, which has language in it that guarantees it's protected forever. It's called in perpetuity. We have attorneys that work with us and help us with these things, and so that it becomes official once we own it.
They need your help. If you have any interest in learning more about the mission of this organization or how you can donate, you can go to ecnorthport.com. Stick around. There's more Animal Outtakes after the break. Signa, this porcupine is gorgeous, but I have to stay so far away, don't I?
No.
No, he's not going to do anything?
No.
Okay.
So these guys are actually, unlike our North American porcupines, these guys are actually an African crested porcupine. So these guys, what's cool is, it is a complete myth that they shoot their quills. So let's just put that to bed now.
Sounds good to
So
me.
North Americans have barbs. So, and these guys, all of his spikes are hollow, okay? So what he would have to do is he would have to turn around and push his barbs into you and release them out of his body, which is really cool because they can release them, it doesn't hurt, and they grow back like human hair, which is really cool. The North Americans do have barbs. That's why you see dogs with barbed wires all over their face.
Yes.
But these guys are different. What's really cool about these guys is they live about 20 years, which is really cool. Obviously, they come from Africa. They actually mourn their dead. So if one of them passes away, they actually mourn for, they're one of the few animals that mourn their dead.
So they're emotional.
Extremely
and
emotional.
There's compassion.
Yes, absolutely. And this guy usually is in my lap, like with his face cuddling me. But we actually got him from a petting zoo that was closing down. Also, the kangaroo. He came from there. He was actually bottle raised by the previous owner. He's a couple months old now, but he's very bonded to humans. They're more of a herbivore, which means they eat mostly plants and stuff. So again, Missouri builds an amazing exotic food for these guys. And what's cool is when there's about 7 months gestation on these guys, and when they come out, the little porcupets is what they're called, they actually have soft quills that harden in 2 hours from when they're born.
Like a little chia pet.
Yep, exactly. So they can come out, so they can, hi, my love. But he likes to lick, and when he gets grumpy, which I've never seen him grumpy, they stomp for their warning. So they would warn somebody before, they'd have to back into you. So he loves his food. He's very, when you give him his food, he usually takes it back to his little den. They live in tree hollows, so we've got a little den for him. His name is Oscar.
Wouldn't it be better that when people want to learn about animals and that they come to a rescue such as yours, rather than these petting zoos?
Right, and here's the issue that I have is, and I'm not naming names, but there are petting zoos that get them as baby animals, and once they grow out of being cute, they sell them into the pet trade. So once they're in the pet trade, you have no idea where they're going. You have no idea. Anybody, also again, Class 3 license, anybody with a Class 3 license can take these guys and do whatever they want, unfortunately. So yeah, we are, and also we're not for profit. So every penny that we make goes right back to the animals. Petting zoos, they're actually there to benefit the owner and make a profit. Absolutely.
Profit.
There's a huge difference between us and your petting zoos.
So we would strongly recommend, if anybody wants to see any of these animals, and there are so many, that they come to Second Chance
Exactly.
and learn about these animals.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely.
For more about Signa and the Second Chance Ranch and Rescue, you can go to her website, secondchanceranchfl.com. And we'll be right back. Animal Outtakes is produced by Dante's Den Foundation, a nonprofit group dedicated to creating the best life for dogs. If you would like to learn more about Dante's Den, donate, or volunteer, visit our website, dantesden.org. We hope you've had an utterly good time. From all of us at Dante's Den Foundation, we hope you have fun and learned a thing or two along the way. We'll be back here again next week with even more animals and some wild adventures. Until then, thanks for watching.
Beautiful,
Whoop.
beautiful black coloration.
Hey, she's looking for the bottle still.
Here we go.
Sorry.
You ain't gonna find it anywhere else, boy. Well, I think that we can fit her in the back of the car, is what I think.
Do you have a sunroof by chance? You could just
Yes, we do. Yeah, we could do that. Yes, absolutely.
Get that nice windblown look.
That's a wrap.